Hi, today I'm going to demonstrate two things for you. One is errorless teaching in a discrete trial training or intensive teaching scenario, and the other is error correction in the same thing. And this is to help you with an assignment that you have on your Canvas page called Intensive Teaching Video Data Sheet and Natural Environment Teaching Plan. So first you're going to read this information, and please watch this patent video first. It tells you a lot about teaching procedures when you're working with students who have autism. And I also have some other videos that will help you understand this technique called discrete trial teaching or intensive teaching. So we are going to work with a student, a hypothetical student. We will call him Steve. He will this is his IEP goal. He'll recognize, label, and classify 50 common people, places, and things from his environment with 100% accuracy for 3 consecutive data collection points. Now, this is a typical IEP goal for verbal behavior based on some of those skills that we track in the VB-MAP, ABLES, etc. So let's unpack this. The student, Stephen, what's he going to do? He's going to recognize, label, and classify what? 50 common people, places, and things from his environment. This is a common deficit among people who have autism, and that's why we have those things that we learned about in the video, like tacting, manding, etc. With 100% accuracy for 3 consecutive data points. That's how well he's going to do it. Well, we often see that kind of a criteria for measuring performance, and this is what your data sheet would look like. We want him to do this with 100% accuracy. That's either he does it or he doesn't do it for 3 consecutive data collection points. This is a cold probe data collection sheet. This means that we collect this data before any instruction is given. So we usually do it first thing or earlier in the morning. The teacher can do it, the paraprofessional can do it, or the speech and language professional can do it. So we look at these goals, and this would probably be filled up. For our purposes, I only put 2 things down here, and let's focus on label, picture of the cat. So he's tacting, picture of a cat. And this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Generally, we do this every day, this kind of cold probe. It doesn't take very long, but you might do it 3 times a week. But you want to collect data as much as possible. So yeah, see, he did it the first time, didn't do it the second, did it the third, and did it the fourth. So we're going to collect data today. And if he gets 3 yeses in a row, that's the criteria for mastery. So if he gets that right 3 times in a row, we're going to say it's mastered. And then we're going to go on to the next item in the list of 50 for him to identify. All right, so I hope that made sense. I want to show you now how we're going to do that. And I'm going to start by just giving you a little heads up about some things to watch for and some things you might have seen that you're wondering about. If you watch some of those demonstrations, you might have thought to yourself, wow, this is fast-paced. That's true. When we work with students with autism and we're doing a verbal behavior program, the pace is fast. It's called intensive teaching, and it is intense. We use something called behavioral momentum, and that is the idea that if we present these things very quickly and don't give wait time and start with easy and go to hard, we'll build up a momentum so that the student will be able to kind of answer automatically. And that's something that people with autism have. If you have me in other classes, you'll know that I really put a lot of emphasis on wait time. So that's for a different type of student. All of our students are individuals, and they all have different needs and strengths. And for some people who have processing deficits, we need to give them wait time. When we're doing this, we're doing a fast pace, and it's not giving them wait time. And we utilize that thing called behavioral momentum. I'll give you an example. I had a student who was older, so he's a big guy, and he did not ever want to go home. So as dismissal time got closer, I would be thinking, well, how am I going to get him out of his seat and onto the bus today. And a lot of times I would use behavioral momentum. So I would come up to him and I would be engaging and I would say, hey, how are you doing? Hey, can you do this? Can you touch your nose? Can you do this? Look, raise your hand. Stand up. Follow me. And he would start doing those things and be very happy and engaging. And, you know, he would stand up and follow me out to the bus. Now, if I would have just come up to him and said, stand up, follow me, he probably wouldn't have done that. So I used it, that idea of behavioral momentum in that instance. And he had autism too. So that's a lot of times one of the strategies we use. So if you're doing this intensive teaching, a lot of times you're going to use something like this. This is a box of cards. They're called language builder cards. This is the box that has nouns in it. It's full of these full colored cards and they have all different things on them. Let me just grab a few. Pictures of things. There's a bucket. There's a shovel. There's an apple. They have colors. They have all different things. You can see some of them are with different backgrounds. Some of them are going to have a cluttered background, a simple background, but they're all different cards. They have, for instance, this apple card. They have a whole lot of different cards of different apples. Apples, you know, in a pile, apples by themselves, yellow apples, green apples, apples on a tree, apples in a grocery store, because these cards are used for different things, like the goal that Stephen had for classifying. That just means that I would give him a stack of cards, and if apples was one of his 50 items that I want him to identify, and I would have them listed on a specific list of things that I want him to master by the end of the school year. If apples was on there and it was classifying, I'd say, here, sort all of the apples into one pile and everything that's not an apple into another pile. And I would see, you know, collect data on how he could classify those things. So that's one way that we would utilize those cards. And if you're hired as an autistic support teacher, probably, and doing verbal behavior, you probably would have those in your classroom. So I am going to use my cards, and let's say, well, let me show you first some things here. These are some cards that I would put in Stephen's pile, and most of these cards are going to be easy things that he's already mastered, because I'm keeping track of things that he's working on and things that he's mastered. So he can already identify bananas. He can already touch his nose. This is an example of a card that isn't one of the language builder cards, but it would be in my pack, and I would have made this. I would have written on this. Now, when it comes to this, I am not showing him this card like I show him the picture cards. This is for me because it's written and it has quotation marks on it. So my assistant or I or the SLP would not show him the card. We would read what is on here. And I would simply read, touch your nose, because that's what it says. I wouldn't say, touch your nose, unless I'm doing errorless teaching and I want to show him what my nose is. Because if I did this, touch your nose while I'm touching my nose, I wouldn't know if he can follow this one-step command, identify his body parts, or if he can just imitate an action without knowing what this means. So a lot of mistakes people make is showing the card, because if I show him the card, I'm seeing if he can read, not if he can follow a verbal command. So the cards that have writing on them are for me. Here's another one. This is a good one. Do this is all I say while I clap. This is an imitation skill. So I say, do this. I don't say, do this, clap, because then I don't know if he's imitating or following the verbal direction of clap. And I don't show him the card. So I know that seems repetitive, but a lot of people make that mistake, so I wanted to be sure. All right, so we're going to work on identifying the cat. And I'm going to show you errorless teaching first. So remember, we do 4 steps for errorless teaching. This is before we collect any data. We don't collect data when we're doing this. I give immediate prompt. I give an immediate prompt, and then I do a transfer. So I would say, What is this? A sheep. That's my immediate prompt. And the transfer would be me asking again, what is it? And then I would say a couple of other things. I would say, do this, stand up, touch your nose. What is it? And then they would say a sheep. I wouldn't give the prompt again. I would just ask. So that was me that was me distracting with those other commands I gave and then going back and checking. Okay. So let's just go through this quickly. I'm going to have my cards here. If he gets one wrong, when I'm teaching, when I'm collecting data, I put one on a pile, but I'm not teaching. I'm doing errorless teaching. So I'm teaching, I'm not collecting data. So I'm going to go through and it's going to be strange because you're going to be saying the answer or doing the thing. Touch your eyebrow. Good job. What's this? Nice. Do you know what this is? Good. What's this? High five. Tell me what this is. I'm going to do my errorless teaching now. What's this? A cat. What is it? Good. Do this. Touch your nose. What's this? Nice. What's this? Nice job. And what's this? Good job. All right. What were you working for? This guy. Here it is. Nice job. So I tried to do the ABC contingency. For each one, I would ask a question. What's this? Wait for the answer. That's the behavior. And then I would give some consequence. A smile, a nod, a high five, a good job. I wouldn't want to do the same consequence each time, but that's errorless teaching. All right. If I have error correction, that means I am going to collect data and I'm going to do the same thing, but let's say he gets one of these wrong. Let's say he gets the truck wrong. What's this? He says airplane. I say no, truck. And then I go right into the same procedure where I give the immediate prompt. I do the errorless teaching again. What is it? Truck. What is it? And then I distract, touch your nose, stand up, sit down, then I go back and check. What is it? I still don't give him credit for that because he got it wrong. So when I go to the data collection sheet, it's going to look like this. Let's say he labeled the picture of the cat. Did he get it right? Yes, he did. Today, he got that correct. So, oh, look, he has 3 yeses in a row, so he mastered that. I would take my highlighter and I would highlight this, and then on my master data collection sheet, I would write the date today, October 10th, he mastered cat. So I would put that back into my pile of things that he's mastered. But every once in a while, like this is October 10th, on October 30th, I might get that cat back out and put it in his stack of easy, but if he missed it again, it would go back into his targets. So I would have to make sure that he maintained and generalized that information, a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks out. So I hope that demonstration helped. If not, and if you need more practice, just let me know and we can talk or meet or discuss it online. So I hope I covered everything. Remember, you don't collect data when you do errorless teaching. You do collect data when you do error correction, and time is also important. If I say, what's this? And I don't get an answer within like 10 seconds or 5 seconds, that's a no. So that's just the same as an incorrect. So hopefully that helped. Stay in touch with me and have a good week. Thanks.